Today's October the 26th, 2012. A little update on the activities on the Grande Pacific Model Railroad. We are working on a section where the tunnel comes through the wall from Colorado Springs and comes around, and we go to Rock Ridge, which starts over here. Which this section of the railroad, like I said, is in some of the other videos, is pretty much finished. So what we're trying to do here is continue on around. In this area right here, we decided that it was a good place to utilize one more industry. So we cut the plywood because it was going off at an angle to accompany the grade, and we elevated it to where it's flat and level, braced it up from the bottom. The white is styrofoam, and we're getting ready to go put the mud on it now. We'll have a ramp for the street to continue on up to it, and we're going to put some buildings. The plan is right now the Acme Latex Company, home of the Trojans, we'll have a track, maybe two, for loading and unloading of boxcars, and a track for a tank of liquid latex. So anyway, that's the plan. We need to put a switch in there and off the main, and that's absolutely going to require to be put a motor in, because everything on the main line is controlled from the dispatcher's panel. But this is the progress, and we'll hope to get the scenery and everything finished up in here and start working around to finish the scenery and track work. It's Silverville. There's the Hard Rocker Furniture Company. It's a little bit out of place. Anyway, progress on the Grande Pacific Model Railroad. Now that we're out here to mix up the mud, as I call it, is Cal-Coat 127. This comes in 25 or 30 pound bags, and it says Cal-Coat 127 on the bag. There are pictures on my website of the bag. It is a commercial insulation product, and it can be obtained from numerous wholesale suppliers around the country, and they will sell to you as individuals. So we're going to move on here and start the process. Now we're going to mix up the Cal-Coat 127. I have just a little bowl to get out of the. I put it in the bucket when I open the bag, because it's a long time before I use up a whole bag. I have another little plastic mixing bucket. It's the bottom off an old vacuum cleaner that died, and as you can see, it's been well used. So all we do is dump it in there. If I'm going to mix up a whole batch for a pretty big project, I'll usually put 2 scoops in. I'll be getting another one when I shut the camera off and putting it in here, but it'll be 2 scoops on this mixing batch. Now we got some water running, and it's just as necessary to put your product in, put some water in it, and it absorbs quite a bit of water. So you just keep working at it, get the water in. I take my putty knife, which is the main tool you work with, and keep mixing it up like so. As you get close, you want to make sure that you get all the product that's in the bowl wet. This is not like anything plaster or hydrocal. Whatever the consistency you want it at is going to be the way it is for quite some time. It's not a case of where it could be a little loose and it's going to stiffen up. If you get it too loose, the only way to make it stiffer is to add more product. So you kind of want to make sure that it's not too loose. this is an example of about the thickness you want. When you pick it up, it stays on the spatula, so you can smear it on just like that. So that's about it. No rush here. Got a couple hours to fool with this one. By the way, the sink is hooked to the hose. Did not have any water or sink attachment, and believe me, as you all model railroaders know, you need some place for a sink. This is outside. This is actually the wall to the train room over here, but this was where the water faucet was in the back of the garage. You can get this sink on Amazon.com, and I'll have to, Real Smart is the name. R-E-E-L-S-M-A-R-T. You can't quite make it out right there. It's kind of getting worn down. But believe me, this is invaluable for working on this railroad, because all the brushes that have to be cleaned and everything else, it works great. Also, this one, you can get it with or without the garden hose. It's got a water take-up reel, but I do a little plant watering too with it. So, nice piece of equipment. It was $99 when I bought it. We'll start here for the purposes of the presentation on a place to apply the Calco 127. What's on the wall and is put on with white glue on the bottom. Not a whole lot of glue, believe me, just something for just to tack up there and hold it. That is nothing more than beadboard, white styrofoam. I make it wavy so we have some relief and texture to it. You can see the finished result right in front of it. That is the exact same technique. That was foam cut and the Calco 127 applied, painted, and then some texturing done and some coloration. May go back and do a little more on it, but maybe a little white highlight, but it gives you an example, where you're going. Preparation, put the 2-inch blue tape over your track. That's one of these, come on man, it's gonna save you all kind of grief, because even though you don't have to mess with this and it'll be in a blob, it's still, when it dries, you're gonna end up with a stain in the track, and then you got to go fix that to make it come out right when you ballast it. So as you can see, we spread a couple of towels around so that we don't drop it all over the tracks and the like when we're doing this. Now I'm gonna try to get this tripod set up here so you can apply it. Now, 2 tools. Good old spatula, and these are an artist knife. You can get the artist knife in any art craft store. They come in a whole bunch of varieties, different sizes. Their flat one's also very good for doing some work on painting, which I'll probably get into soon. You take a blob out, smear it on. And remember, Mother Nature doesn't like anything straight. So don't try to force the shape and how it comes out. Now, okay, so it's going to end up, some of it's on the wall. Well, it'll even get worse once we get the old brown paint out here for the base coat. But see, don't worry about that. It'll all clean up at the end, because we'll come back. We have some mountains and some trees and stuff to paint on the background here, so I'll take care of all that at the end. Now, if you were going to try to do something like saying that the blasting company came along and blasted the rock, we'll put the blast marks in where we drill the holes for the dynamite, whatever we use. And in the old days, good old black powder. Who knows? But anyway, that's as simple as it gets. I can come back and this can be worked for about an hour, hour and a half. What happens is the styrofoam will draw up some of the moisture and it'll start to get a little tough to work with. You can take a bottle of spray water and just spray it and it'll be thick again. Now, let's swing over here and notice I did not try to take any of the ridges out from the putty knife or anything. I'm going to swing over here, and here we're going to have the road going up the grade. For the trucks to make it to our Acme latex plant. And this is where this product comes in handy too, because you can treat it just like you would if you were in the cement business. You can float this and it will make a nice smooth roadway. Now, I don't know all the components of it, but it's got a lot of fiber in it. So that's one reason why it stands up. Here, the little other tool comes in real handy, and you can get things smoothed off real well. It allows you to cut or work in tighter spaces too. It's a good use of Calcoat 127 as a modeling tool. I haven't bought this in a while, but last time I bought it was under $30 a bag. So believe me, you can do a lot with less. And again, no rush. You can work this till the cows come home. I don't know whether you can see me or not. I can't look in the viewfinder. Hope I didn't block it too much. But now we have a nice ramp leading up to where the industry is going to be. Try to get all these things done before we get into this. Is working from the back out. We did our sky. We'll continue around and we'll fill in the rest of the mud. And then we'll start. I've got an idea for the building. Was playing with it with model builders. Haven't decided. I got one other plastic building I may try to fix and work on that. After we get the mud in and get the paint up and we get some of the background scenery painted, then we'll worry about buildings. We're going to work from the back out. So we'll stop at this point and add to it as we go along. Hope this helps you. If you can't find a supplier in your area, contact me on Model Railroad Hobbyist, my blog. It's Arthur Houston, and I've got a blog site, modelrailroadhobbyist.com, and send me an email through that blog site and I will help you find it. I've done it for about 50 people around the country, Canada, and we will find it. It is sold pretty much everywhere. The product is used to seal up Sub-Zero freezers. A Sub-Zero freezer has to be airtight, because if it isn't, it'll implode. So there we go. We've done a large section of the area which we want to fix up as rocks in the indoor road, and I wanted to give you a picture of what it looks like when it's wet. Now it's, real dark color gray. It's going to change dramatically. We'll give you a shot of that. Now we've done all this area up through here just to answer the question, why'd you stop there? Well, there's some parts over there that I made the top up for the top of the tunnel, and as you can see, it'll be a lift out so you can get back there if you have to. Might be a difficult reach. but it's always capable. It's just like the one up here. The section at the top comes off. So if you do need, now this one is longer, and I've had to get in there and kind of do a little cleanup. We sprayed for some bugs and all that stuff, you know, that you get in the railroad, so it doesn't hurt periodically to get in there, clean up, spray, wipe the track, clean the track. Now I can clean the track with a long rod I have without opening it up, but it does have access. So that glue isn't dried on a little bit of that foam, so we're gotta wait a couple more hours and let the glue dry, and so we don't beat our heads against the wall when we start putting the mud on it. So anyway, that's what it looks like when it's wet. Whenever I can get help from a couple of friends of mine who do this, they'll come over and start a project on the foam and whatever we have to do, trying to get some of the scenery finished. We're on the other side of the wall. Actually, where we were working is right through that tunnel portal right there that goes to Rock Ridge. But this one was done a while ago by a good friend, and he comes over periodically. But what we had all this done, this right here is what Calcoat 127 will look like when it is dry and it has not been painted. Well, one of the advantages of having a project in a position where you can smear mud on it is when you mix up a couple of big batches and you finish what you're doing, you need a place to put it. If you got something sitting around, we come over here and we put it, and it, as you can see when we get down here, and I'll probably, when I start painting the other side, I'll come over here and paint this. But you see right there where it ends. So, got a little piece in here where that is finished down there. We've got a little piece to fill in. And got the whole refinery thing to do, and that'll be a whole nother topic, but just a good example what you can do with the styrofoam build that you want to build a nice piece of scenery. It's easy to do, believe me. Hot wires. And another thing about the styrofoam, none of this styrofoam was paid for. Look around commercial buildings with anybody who's doing stucco on the outside and putting relief. The relief is all done with styrofoam, and then they put the stucco over it. Believe me, there's a ton of styrofoam out there that you can pick up on, not pay a dime for. So anyway, moving ahead to the next part of this project. This is probably going to be the single biggest part of the scenery. This was all done with foam. I have this on the web. There is a web page shows the construction of this and working on it. Some step-by-step pictures. But this was all done with styrofoam beadboard, in this case, the white stuff. Calcoat 127 painted. What we came back and did a little, after the original coat dried, we did a little coloration, and then when it was all wet, when the paint was wet, we took Woodland Scenic Weeds and sprinkled it on a piece of plastic styrene, and we blew it against the mountain. That's where you see a lot of the tone come in. May come back and do a little more spraying with some wet glue and put some more things on it, but pretty much done with it to a great degree. It could stand a little bit more, but that was all done with foam. It's a good example of what you can come out when you start putting a little background scenery in it, what it'll look like, and it's easy to do. This is the 2 tunnels that lead to the narrow gauge loop. Got a little work to do on that. I was looking at the video on that, and I said, need to work on those tunnel openings. They don't look too good. But with this, one thing about with this stuff, you can go back and fix all this. And back here you have a tunnel that goes to the Love Pass. And the tracks in front of the Love Pass cut off. But we have to have the old Love Pass so we can get up there and take care of the moo cows. I don't know, cattle, I guess. But whatever, we pick up cattle up there. Anyway, so example of what you can do with it. As progress continues here, you see we've applied the mud to all areas, including the top of the tunnel, which is in the foreground, and it has dried completely. This has been a couple of days now. Other things have gone on, including, just for time reference, Sandy has hit New York City and flooded the subways. But we sit here working on the building. We've built the first major building. We have another one to go where the smaller one is. But this gives you some idea of what you can do. These were some kits, parts of kits I had left over from several buildings, and all matched up. So we got all the pieces and parts together. And this is what we do. We need to put a edge along the back. And I'll give you the look here in just a second. We need to create an edge for the roof along the back edge here. And we're going to need to put a little bit of a support. Might put a back on the building, but as you can see, the roof sags a little bit. So what we'll do is we'll build a support down, and we'll fill here in the back with some old plastic we have. But all we did was use a piece of plastic to join the two together. But it was all put together out of leftover parts we had laying around.